Hello student, in today's class we are going to discuss about the organic chemistry, some basic principle and techniques. So first of all we must know about the organic chemistry. Organic chemistry, it is the chemistry of hydrocarbons and derivatives. So first of all we must know about the hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are the organic compounds made up of only carbon and hydrogen atoms. According to the Swedish chemist Berzelius, organic compounds were produced only under the influence of some mysterious forces existing in the living organisms, and these mysterious forces cannot be created artificially and was called the vital forces. So Berzelius gave the concept of vital forces. So there are certain names of scientists, their nationality, year and important contribution towards the organic chemistry. So Berzelius, nationality Swedish, in the year 1815, he gave the vital force that is responsible for the formation of organic compounds. And in the year 1828, a scientist F. Wohler from the German, he said that no vital force was required in the formation of organic compounds, and he synthesized urea from the ammonium cyanide. You can say here this is ammonium chloride and this is potassium cyanide, and when they are mixed with each other we will get ammonium cyanide with the loss of KCl. When we heat this ammonium cyanide we will get urea, and urea is the first organic compound which is synthesized from the inorganic compound, that is ammonium cyanide. Thereafter, in the year 1845, another scientist from the German, that is Hermann Kolb, who synthesized acetic acid from the inorganic source in laboratory. Thereafter, in the year 1856, a scientist from France, Berthold, he synthesized methane from the inorganic source in the laboratory. So these are the scientists who synthesize the organic compound from the inorganic sources. Now in the organic chemistry we have to more focus on the nature of the bond. So first of all we have to find out the number of, we must know about how to calculate the, or how to find out the sigma and pi bonds which are present in a molecule, especially in the hydrocarbons. So here the question which is given to us, that how many sigma and pi bonds are present in each of the molecule. So these are the two questions. In the question number A, part A, we have 4 carbon-carbon sigma bond, that is single bond. This is 1, and we know a double bond contain 1 sigma bond, 1 pi bond, and triple bond contain 1 sigma and 2 pi bonds. So here CC sigma bond is 4, and we have the 6 CH sigma bond, this 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 and 3 we have the carbon-carbon pi bond, 2 here, because in the triple bond 2 pi bonds are there, in the double bond 1 pi bond is there. Total we have the 3 carbon-carbon sigma, carbon-carbon pi bond. Likewise in the part B, we have the double bond. Double bond means there are 1 sigma and 1 carbon-carbon, 1 sigma bond and 1 pi bond. Again there is double bond, means 1 carbon-carbon sigma bond and 1 carbon-carbon pi bond. And here we can, this is the expanded form of this compound. So here we will calculate easily the 3 carbon-carbon sigma bond and 6 carbon-hydrogen sigma bond and 2 carbon-carbon pi bonds for this hydrocarbon compound. Next is we have to determine the hybridization of each of the carbon atom in the following compound. We have CH3Cl, and in the CH3Cl we have to find out the hybridization. So here the hybridization, one can get the hybridization number of sigma bond. So here 4 sigma bonds are there, that's why the hybridization for this carbon is sp3. Likewise in this case this is acetone we have which is given to us. We have to find out this carbon, we have the sp3 because 4 sigma bonds are there, 1 for S and 3 for P. total is sp3 for this carbon. For this we have the sigma bond 1, 2 and 3 sigma bonds. So for this carbon we have sp2 hybridization, and for this terminal carbon again we have the sp3 like this carbon, so sp3 hybridization. And for this carbon we have to find out the number of sigma bond. Here 1 sigma bond and here another sigma bond, 2 sigma bond. For this hybridization is sp, and for this carbon we have the 4 sigma bonds, that's why the hybridization is sp3. Now if you want to find out the percentage s character, we have the formula for finding the percentage s character, that is the number of s orbitals divided by total number of s and p orbitals multiplied by 100. For sp3 we can find out the percentage s character. Here in sp3 the number of s orbital is 1 and the total number of s and p orbital 1 for s and 3 for p. 1 plus 3 multiplied by 100 we will get 25% s character in case of sp3. Likewise we will get 33.3 in case of sp2, and in case of sp we will get 50% s character. So if you talk about the father of organic chemistry, the von Hoff is the father of organic chemistry. Now further if you look over the bond length, carbon-carbon single bond length is 1.54 angstrom, carbon-carbon double bond is 1.34 angstrom. It is shorter than that of the carbon-carbon single bond, and in case of triple bond it is least as compared to double and triple bond, so it is 1.20 angstrom. If you look over the bond strength, we know the bond strength of carbon-carbon single bond is very low in comparison to carbon-carbon triple bond. Here in case of single bond, carbon-carbon bond strength is 348 kilojoule per mole. In case of double bond it is somewhat higher than that of carbon-carbon single bond, that is 383 kilojoule per mole. And in case of triple bond it is difficult to break the triple bond, so here the energy range is high, 433 kilojoule per mole. So another concept we must know in our mind, that greater the s character, greater is the electronegativity. So here the s character is high in case of sp, that is 50%. In case of sp2 percentage s character is 33.3, and in case of sp3 percentage s character is 25. So greater s character mean in s character in sp is 50%. So sp hybridized carbon has the greater electronegativity in comparison to sp2 and sp3 hybridized carbon. Now moving to the structural representation of organic compounds. How we can represent the structural part in the organic compounds. So first of all we have to mention the complete formula. It represents each atom separately along the each bond present in the given compound. So like this, here we have to represent each carbon and hydrogen atom separately. So this is ethane, this is ethene, and triple bond, this is ethyne. So this is the complete formula. Next one is the condensed formula. This structural formula can be represented by omitting some or all the bonds by indicating number of identical group attached to atom by subscript. Like in case of ethane, we need not to represent all the bonds. We simply write this CH3, no bond is required in between the atoms. One can write it like this, C2H6 in the subscript form, because we have the 2 carbon are there and 6 hydrogens are there, so one can write C2H6. So these numbers can be written in subscript like this. Like ethane, one can write C2H4. Next one is the bond line structural formula. It is in this representation, carbon-carbon bond are represented by zigzag lines and carbon atoms by line ends and intersections. A single bond is represented by a single line, this single line. A double bond is represented by double line, this is the double line. A triple bond is represented by the triple line like this, 3 lines. So 3 line indicates the triple bond, and double line indicates the presence of double bond, and single line represents the presence of single bond between the 2 atoms. So each atom atom required number of hydrogen atoms to complete the tetravalency of carbon atom, because we know the carbon has tetravalency, so each carbon atom is required the number of hydrogen atom which will satisfy the tetravalency of carbon. So this is the butane bond line notation of butane. We have 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 carbon are there, that's why it is butane single bond. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons are there, double bond is there. So this is pentene and this is cyclopropane, because this is the closed structure. The corner represent a carbon atom, this and this side, this one, these side represent the carbon-carbon bond. This is the carbon-carbon bond. Now if you look over the three-dimensional formula, in the three-dimensional formula, this formula completely describes the actual position of various atoms or molecule in three-dimensional space. This dotted line, this is called the dotted wedge line, which represents that bond is lying away from the observer, and this bold line, that is the solid wedge line, represents that this bond is towards the observer, and these continuous line, these represent that these bonds are present in the plane. So if we consider the classification of organic compounds, so organic compounds are classified into acyclic and cyclic compounds. Acyclic we call them open chain compounds, and cyclic compounds further categorized in two types, that is homocyclic or carbocyclic compound or heterocyclic compounds. Further, homocyclic compound, which is in the category of cyclic compound, is categorized in two parts, alicyclic and aromatic compound, and heterocyclic further classified into two types, that is alicyclic compound and aromatic compounds. Further, aromatic compounds are classified into two types, that is benzoid and non-benzoid compounds. First is acyclic or open chain compounds. These are the organic compounds which contain open chain, like your N-butane, but2-ene. So these are the open chain compounds. They are called acyclic. Now cyclic or closed chain compounds. These are the compounds which contain carbon atom in closed chain or ring. Like we have the examples in acyclic compounds, like this is the closed system, cyclopropane, this is cyclobutane. Next, moving to aromatic compounds. Aromatic compounds, these are the cyclic unsaturated compounds. These are called aromatic because mostly produce aroma, that is smell. They will produce smell, that's why they are called aromatic. These are of two types, benzoid aromatic compound and non-benzoid aromatic compounds. First one is benzoid aromatic compound. These are the aromatic compound which contain one or more benzene rings, like this. This is the benzene. Here this is nitrobenzene, contain one benzene ring. Naphthalene contain two benzene ring. Two benzene rings are fused. This is naphthalene. When the three benzene rings are fused, this is anthracene. And when again three benzene rings are fused, this is phenanthrene. And when the two phenyl groups are attached, they are called biphenyls. Next one is the non-benzoid compounds. These are the aromatic compounds which contains unsaturated ring other than benzene ring. Unsaturated ring will be there other than benzene. They are called non-benzoid compounds, like your propone and this azulene. These they do not contain any benzene ring, but they are aromatic in nature. That's why they are called non-benzoid organic compounds. Next one is heterocyclic compounds. These are the cyclic compounds which contain one or more heteroatoms in their rings. Heteroatoms like your oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. Alicyclic heterocyclic compounds. These are the aliphatic compounds containing one or more heteroatoms, like here in place of carbon, if we replace it by oxygen, this is oxirane. Ethylene oxide is there. Next one is the aromatic heterocyclic compounds. These are the aromatic cyclic compounds containing one or more heteroatoms, like your in furane, in place of carbon, if we replace it by oxygen, this is furane 5-member ring. 5-member ring containing NH, this is pyrrole. 5-member ring containing sulfur, this is thiophene. 6-member ring, if we replace carbon by nitrogen, this is pyridine. So these are aromatic heterocyclic compounds. Next one is the homologous series. In the homologous series, it is the group of structurally similar organic compounds having the same functional group. Means they will have the same functional group, similar properties, and any two members of each of which differ by this CH2 group. So each homologous series can be represented by a general formula. We have for alkanes CnH2n+2. For carboxylic acid we have the formula CnH2n+1 COH, and for alcohol CnH2n+1 OH. Here N stands for the number of carbon atom and 2n+2, this shows the number of hydrogen atoms, and in carboxylic acid again this N stands for number of carbon atom, 2n+1 represents the number of hydrogen atom along with the carboxylic group, and here Cn number of carbon atoms, 2n+1 represent the number of hydrogen atom along with the OH group in alcohols. All the members of the given homologous series possess the same functional group. This is the condition. Next one is the successive member of the homologous series differ by CH2 group or by 12 into 2 plus 1, that is 14 mass unit, because we have the 12 atomic mass for the carbon, and for hydrogen we have 1, but we have the 2 hydrogens. For 2 hydrogen we have the 2 mass, 12 plus 2, that is 14 mass unit. Next one is their physical properties changes with the change of the molecular mass, and their chemical properties are very similar. So these are the properties of homologous series. So in this video we have discussed about the organic compounds, how one can find out the number of sigma and pi bonds along with the hybridizations and classification of the organic compounds, and thereafter we have discussed about the homologous series. So thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great day.